Thank you very much, Madam Clerk, Deputy Clerk. Welcome everyone to the special council meeting for Wednesday, April the 30th, 2025. This is a little after 5:30 p.m. We have a planning public meeting session planned for tonight's special meeting. And so at this time, I'll read the agenda or look for the approval. Be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby approve the agenda dated April the 30th, 2025 as presented. Can I get a mover and seconder, please? Mr. Walker, thank you. And Deneen, thank you. Any questions on the agenda? The agenda is, looks a little light, but it's a very important issue to talk about. Anything? Seeing none, I'll call the motion. All in favor. And that carries unanimous. Councillor Broderick should join us soon, so hopefully he'll be here. At this time, we'll go to declarations of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Anybody got any declarations in regards to this discussion? Seeing none from the members of council? Very well. Now we're going to go to item number 3, which is public meeting. We do have a public meeting planned for tonight. As is our procedure here at Clearview Township, we always pass our building and planning public meetings over to our deputy mayor. So Deputy Mayor, you will now take the chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. We will now initiate the public meeting portion of tonight's agenda. We invite you to comment on the application being presented tonight and to engage the process with us. If you wish to be notified of the decision of the Corporation of the Township of Clearview on an application being discussed this evening, please complete a public delegation form and submit the form to the Deputy Clerk. I believe they're sitting over there, Deputy Clerk. So if you want written submissions or written responses, please sign up. The views expressed in the public comments are solely those of the individuals providing them and do not reflect the opinions of the township, its agents, or its employees. It is not possible for the township to verify the accuracy of all information provided by the members of the public. The township therefore assumes no responsibility for any of the inaccurate information that may be contained within the public comments. If you have information that might correct, clarify, or refute any statements contained within the public comments, please forward it to the Township Planning Department. Please be advised that your comment or request to be notified will form part of the public record. Your communication and any personal information therein will be made available to the public unless you expressly request its removal. If a person or public body would otherwise have an ability to appeal the decision of the Township of Clearview to the Ontario Land Tribunal, but the person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions before the proposed official plan or zoning bylaw amendment is adopted or passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision. If a person or public body does not make oral submission at a public meeting or make written submissions to the Township of Clearview before the proposed official plan or zoning bylaw amendment is adopted or passed, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to add the person or public body as a party. The following public meeting will involve a brief presentation by our planning staff, an opportunity for the applicant or their agent to present their application, and a period for public comments or questions, and an opportunity for questions by the planning committee. So we will now begin the public meeting with respect to item 3.1, the official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment 2025-013, referred to as Lilac Park Inc. of this evening's agenda. The planning staff will now start with a brief presentation concerning the application. So Nick, you got the show tonight? Go at her. It's all yours.
Thank you, Chair. Your Worship, members of council, members of the public, my name is Nick Ainley. I'm a community planner here at the Township of Clearview. I'm here to facilitate or assist in facilitating the public meeting for tonight's public meeting. Wait till the application or the presentation pulls up. So as previously indicated, the public meeting tonight is for two planning applications that are before the township currently, which is an official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment from the applicants known as Lilac Park Inc. For applications 25013. Next slide. And just before I kind of get into it, just because there are two presentations from myself as well as from the applicant's consultant, there is a bit of duplication, so I might try and abbreviate some of my slides, but I do want to make sure the information is kind of stated there for everyone either in attendance or online tonight. This is my contact information. If anyone viewing has any questions or comments they'd like to submit, they can be done so directly to my email address or through phone. Next slide. So in terms of the subject lands themselves, so located centrally in the urban settlement area, Stainer. They're located on the southwest corner of County Road 91 and 42. They are comprised, I'll refer them to subject lands throughout the application, but they are comprised of 10 individual properties currently. I won't go through the individual legal address or municipal addresses on here because they are listed, but I can confirm they are bounded by County Road 91 to the north, County Road 42 to the east, Quebec Street to the south, and Sutherland Street south to the east. Or sorry, west, apologies. Next slide. So in terms of the overall purpose, so the purpose of the current official plan amendment application that's before the township is to redesignate the portions of the subject land currently designated as residential to a commercial designation. So this will basically have the entirety of the subject lands designated as commercial. In addition to that redesignation, the application also proposes a site-specific amendment to alter the wording of the township's Clearview's new official plan by deleting and replacing a section, and it's 7427. There was a typo in here, so it's not 7472. It's 7427. D4 assessment area in the new township of Clearview official plan, and it is the proposed replace wording is as stated above. Next slide. In terms of the zoning bylaw amendment application, it is similar to the OPA in that it does seek to rezone all of the subject lands currently designated or currently zoned as RS2, residential low density, residential multiple medium density, RS5, as well as the portion of the subject land zone is commercial, general commercial C1, to a single general commercial exception hold zone. So that'd be a C1 exception zone with a holding as well. In terms of exceptions, I won't go through them all here, but the primary intent is to add a drive-through restaurant as additional permitted use in the C1 zone, as well as do several alterations to zone provisions, which speak to setback requirements, landscaping requirements, parking requirements, snow storage, stacking, as well as establishing bicycle parking requirements for the site. The proposed hold symbol is also intended to limit development of the site until safe access and egress are provided and appropriate flood-proofing mitigation measures are in place. I'll speak to that a little bit later on in the presentation. In terms of the overall effect, so the effect of the applications is to permit the general commercial uses on the entirety of the subject lands with site-specific provisions in place. The proposal seeks the redevelopment of the subject lands for commercial use, consisting of 4 standalone commercial buildings, including a drive-through restaurant, 94 parking spaces, and site access currently proposed from County Road 42 and County Road 91. Next slide. In terms of submission items, as a part of the complete application, there were, in addition to the application forms and draft official plan and zoning bylaw amendments, there was a number of technical studies and reports that were submitted. These included plan justification report, traffic impact study, parking justification study, groundwater monitoring, technical investigations, functional servicing, natural hazard assessment, as well as archaeological assessments of the subject lands. These are available online on their township's current projects website page. Next slide. So here's an aerial imagery of the subject lands. It is a bit out of date because the site does look a little bit different in 2025. I believe this was taken in 2024. The subject lands are primarily surrounded by residential uses to the north, west, and south, with some commercial uses located to the north east, being 2 commercial plazas with drive-through restaurants, retail commercial units, as well as a gas station. As indicated, the subject lands don't look the way they do currently. They actually is only one existing structure on the property, a 6-plex residential dwelling with frontage onto County Road 91, with the remainder of the site being vacant and generally flat in nature. Next slide. So in terms of the overall planning policy having application to the subject lands, so the subject lands are the square box outline in black outline there. The red portions of subject lands are that shows the subject lands are currently designated as commercial, with the yellow being the residential designation. The current application seeks to change those yellow components of the site to red. So basically the overall site would be commercial following the application, the OPA application. And then similarly, the RS2 and RS5 zone portions of site would be, and the C1H3 would be rezoned to a single C1 exception zone hold zone. The additional that isn't shown on this map is that the subject lands are within the hazard land special policy overlay due to its proximity to the Lamont Creek to the north. So there are subject to regulation by the Conservation Authority. Next slide. In terms of notice of circulation, so notice was provided in accordance with the Planning Act. This was done so on March 19th. It was done via mailing to all properties within 120 meters of subject land, as well as posting of 2 signs on the property. As indicated previously, the supporting materials and applications have been available to the public, and they can be accessed online. And they've also been circulated to relevant internal departments as well as external commenting agencies for review and comment. Next slide. In terms of public comments, if they were received prior to the posting of the agenda date, which I believe was last Wednesday, they would have been made part of the application or the online agenda package tonight. If they were received since that time, they will be published as a part of the recommendation report and made part of the public record at that time. Next slide. And just as a general overview in terms of the review process, the applications were received, formal applications and submission material on February 14th. The applications were deemed complete on February 21st and March 4th. Notice of this public meeting was given on March 19th, with the meeting being held today on the 30th. Staff have targeted June 2nd as the time to bring back the recommendation report to council, with notice adoption going before the June 17th tentatively. Because official plans are final approved through the County of Simcoe, they'd be submitted to them following any approval granted or adoption granted here. And then that's the timelines to be determined by the County of Simcoe. I think that actually concludes my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nick. That's good. I believe we have some presenters for the applicant or their agent. The floor is now yours with a brief presentation. And please state your name so everybody, before you start. Thank you.
My name is Julia Redfern.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Are the presentation slides? Okay. Oh, here we go.
Yep, there we go.
Thank you. So yes, good evening. My name is Julia Redfern and I'm a planner at Eventwood Management. I'm going to provide an overview of a commercial development proposal for a centrally located block in Stayner at the corner of County Road 42 and County Road 91. The owner of the site is Lilac Park Inc. Next slide. So the subject lands are approximately 1.13 hectares with frontages of 110 meters on County Road 91, 89 meters on County Road 42, 101 meters on Quebec Street, and 106 meters on Sutherland Street South. The site previously included 10 residential buildings with a total of 15 units. Most have been demolished, leaving the site largely vacant, except for a 6-plex residential building with access from County Road 91. Next slide. The property is located within the built-up area of Clearview's urban settlement area with access to full municipal services, including water, sanitary, and storm infrastructure. Public transit is available, and there is currently 1 sidewalk along County Road 91. Surrounding land uses include a mix of residential, commercial, institutional, and light industrial to the north, east, south, and west, making this a well-connected and diverse area. Next slide. The development is guided by several planning documents. The provincial planning statement and County of Simcoe official plan both support compact mixed-use growth in appropriate locations. The Township of Clearview official plan, which establishes land use policies and supports intensification in built-up areas, and the zoning bylaw, which regulates permitted uses, building locations, parking, setbacks, and more. Next slide. The Clearview official plan identifies a site within the built boundary, a key area for infill and intensification. The 3 northeast lots are designated commercial, permitting a range of uses, including retail, restaurants, office, and personal services. The remaining lands are designated residential, permitting a variety of residential uses and small-scale commercial activities, such as convenience stores. However, this excludes commercial plazas and drive-through facilities. The site is also within a special policy area in the flood fringe where development is permitted with proper flood proofing. Next slide. From a zoning perspective, the corner lots are zoned general commercial holding, allowing a broad range of commercial uses, including restaurants, but not drive-throughs. The holding symbol limits development until safe joint access and a site plan agreement are in place. The sixplex is zoned multiple medium density residential, permitting 2-story apartments with up to 10 units per building. And the remainder of the site is zoned residential low density, permitting single detached dwellings. Next slide. So the proposed development includes 4 one-story commercial buildings, a drive-through restaurant at the main corner, and 3 additional commercial buildings at the other key intersections. Access is proposed via full movement driveways on both County Road 42 and County Road 91, avoiding residential side streets. The proposal includes 94 parking spaces with 8 accessible stalls, 4 loading spaces, and new sidewalks and landscaping where feasible. Next slide. An official plan and zoning bylaw amendment are requested to redesignate and rezone the entire block as commercial and general commercial modified holding with site-specific provisions for the proposed drive-through use, which provides a quick and convenient option for customers, helps manage higher traffic volumes, supports the traveling public, increases sales, and enhances operational efficiency and competitiveness. A maximum front yard setback of 5.8 meters, increased from the required 2 meters to accommodate the drive-through layout for Building C. A minimum building height of 1 story instead of the required 2 stories to reflect functional commercial needs and ensure compatibility with the surrounding low-rise built form. Tree planting, where 10 trees are proposed within the site boundary, and the remaining required trees are proposed within the municipal right-of-way or on public lands, subject to township approval due to limited space on site. A minimum number of 94 parking spaces instead of the required 172, supported by parking survey data collected at proxy sites to demonstrate actual demand and zoning requirements and parking studies in peer jurisdictions. A minimum barrier-free parking stall width of 3.9 meters instead of the required 4.6, which aligns with AOD standards for type B stalls. Snow storage, where the bylaw requires 1,100 square meters, which is proposed to be accommodated off-site by a private contractor. A reduced stacking lane setback of 0.4 meters instead of the required 3 meters to make more efficient use of the site while ensuring that queued vehicles do not interfere with parking, pedestrian movement, or access. A holding symbol is also proposed to ensure that development will only proceed once safe access is confirmed through the site plan control process, and any required floodproofing measures are in place to the satisfaction of the township. Next slide. The supporting materials submitted with the application include a topo survey, which maps the existing site features and grades to support detailed design, the conceptual site and landscape plans demonstrating a functional layout with new sidewalks and tree plantings, a stage 1 and 2 archaeological assessment confirming there are no archaeological resources on the property and no further work is needed, a geotechnical and groundwater investigation confirming the soil and groundwater conditions are suitable for development, a natural hazard assessment verifying the site is within the flood fringe where development is permitted with appropriate design, a service and feasibility study demonstrating that adequate municipal services can be provided to support the proposed development, including the use of existing water allocation assigned to the site, a planning justification report demonstrating consistency with applicable planning policies, a parking justification study confirming the proposed parking supply is appropriate based on demand, and a traffic impact study confirming that with recommended access improvements, the local road network can accommodate the proposed development. Next slide. So to provide more context on the traffic impact study, recommendations to address 2026 total conditions, the study suggests extending the eastbound left turn lane on County Road 91 at Highway 26, extending the northbound left turn lane on County Road 42, extending the turn lanes to the Quebec Point Street intersection, and then returning to the 2-lane configuration beyond the site frontage. A westbound advanced green for 2031 total conditions is also recommended. These recommendations, however, also account for significant development activity in the area and along the Highway 26 corridor, including approved draft plans, active applications, and ongoing construction. If these planned developments do not proceed or are delayed, the identified improvements may not be required or could be deferred. Next slide. So in summary, the proposed amendments enable appropriate commercial development on an underutilized urban block, align with the township goals for infill and intensification, improve neighborhood access to commercial services, contribute to the area's economic vitality, address technical matters, including transportation, servicing, hazards, and archaeology, and conform with applicable planning policies. Next slide. Well, thank you very much for listening. That wraps up my presentation. I'd be happy to listen to any comments or answer questions.
Thank you. We'll let some other people ask, and then, but as long as you keep yourself available, you will be asked questions, I'm sure. So
Thanks.
thank you for your presentation. I'd go to our audience now. Would anybody like to come up and speak, wish to comment, ask a question, or address the committee with respect to this application? And these questions may be directed to or responded to by the applicant, their agent, the staff, but will be addressed through myself. So come on up, and the mic is yours.
Hello, I'm Marlene Davidson, and I would just like to ask what kind of on Sutherland Street, are you going to put up like a privacy fence, or what were you thinking of that? Because it would be nice to have noise reduction less and privacy. And as I see on the map, I don't think there is going to be a entranceway on Sutherland. I hope not. So basically that and when would garbage pickup be? Would it be, is that on Quebec Street where that's going to be? Where the garbage pickup is? There looked like a thing where it kind of looked like a fancy kind of thing looking. I wasn't sure what that was. That's all I have to ask.
Okay. Julia, did you wish to come up and respond to that, please?
Sorry, can you remind me of your very first point again? Can you remind me of the very first point? Oh yeah, okay, I got that one. So the privacy on Sutherland, currently we're proposing trees, but they are within the right of way. So I think based on the latest correspondence with staff, they actually don't want trees in the right of way. So we might have to look at either doing a fence instead or shifting it so that the trees are on the site. But that will have to be confirmed through the detailed design process. But we are looking into privacy measures along Sutherland. And then for garbage pickup, there is a loading space proposed on the east side of Building A, which is near Quebec Street. And then that has a privacy fence around it as well to contain which would contain any garbage facilities. And there's no access proposed onto Sutherland Street. It's just onto the main roads to avoid the traffic through the residential neighborhood.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did that answer your questions for now? Okay, thank you. Sherry, did you want to come up? Thank you.
Hi, now you can hear me. I'm Sherry Schapp, and I live on the corner of Quebec and Sutherland. So I'm seeing a lot of development all around us. And I don't have any issues with the development, but I do have concerns. And my one was the fence, privacy. Trees, I don't think are going to cut it. And that would be a big concern for me. If there are only trees across there. With having a business in Stayner, drive-through and a Dairy Queen, I'm quite familiar with deliveries, garbage pickups and stuff. And I worked also with my neighbors too, because the noise that was there. And also I know there's enclosed and garbage and I do see all that flying around. I see it flying around now. So there has to be an enclosed area for that. I believe like noise reduction and stuff, especially when you have residential so close to that, is when there are deliveries, you know, what those times are for the deliveries and for the businesses to come. I have no idea what businesses are going to be in there, what their hours of operation are. As again, I think our corner is seeing the largest building there. So how many units are going to be in there? How many businesses are going to be in there? And again, as I said, like I welcome development in Stayner. I think we need to have that. But I think the respect for the residential areas around that need to be really considered. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like to address her concerns, please?
Thank you for your comments. Yes, in terms of garbage, it will be enclosed. Ideally, they'd be able to have like a partial underground system, but that will be dependent on the groundwater levels to make sure that that is functional. And then there will be privacy screening around the garbage areas as well. And in terms of the tenants, they're unfortunately not confirmed yet. Building A was only shown as having one tenant, which is the one closest to Quebec and Sutherland. While the only one that's partially confirmed is potentially a Wendy's at the main corner, but the other ones are still to be determined. The same with garbage pickup times, but they would need to make sure that they're not exceeding or any sort of noise bylaws and making sure that they're complying with requirements of the township. I think that was most of the comments.
Sherry, did that answer your questions or address your questions, or do you have any others you can, sure, come to the mic, then everybody can hear it at home, because this is.
My concern or my question on which the Wendy's on that corner, will they come off of 42 on there and then exit 91? Or will it vice versa? Or can it be either way?
It could probably.
Okay, so the drive-through would be closer to the 42?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Mitch, do you want to get up and, please?
My name is Mitch Coker and I'm just on County Road 42, 1044. I'm just down from there. I'm just wondering about the traffic. When we're coming through the lights, if that driveway going into this new Wendy, is that what you, is bad, even when we have 2 lanes on the other side right now for Tim Hortons, some days it's crazy. But if you only got 1 lane coming from 26 to 42, and then if they're turning in there, then the traffic is going to be backed up in the light, in the lights. Or are you going to make the road wider?
Okay.
For a turnoff into the Wendy's? Or who's doing that?
Yeah.
And then my other, is there a sidewalk going to be put on that, along there?
I would say yes to the sidewalk. I believe Nick, would you like to answer that question?
Thank you, Chair. I'd have to confirm through the review that usually through detail design, we'd look at the sidewalk locations for it. I'd have to confirm what's there existing on that side of County Road 42, but that's something that we can definitely confirm for you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Julie, do you want to address Mitch's questions there, please?
Thank you very much. Very valid comments. In terms of traffic, a traffic impact study was completed. And they did recommend adding another lane for the turns into the site for the reason you're suggesting, for sure. So that would be paid for by the developer.
Okay, Mitch, are you okay with that? Or do you want to talk some?
There's a sidewalk on county, on,
It's on the other side.
yeah, it's on, I was gonna say, it's not on that.
Very low.
There is no one on that side, on coming down. Once you just go around to the light
Yes,
where you walk across, and that's it. There's no more sidewalk.
on 42.
on 42 on the west side.
Right, okay,
That's why I'm asking, are they gonna put a sidewalk in?
okay. And Nick,
Because-
and you'll clarify that with, at some point? Yes, please.
Yes, through your chair. Yeah, that's something we'll review. So you are correct. It is on the east side currently, but that is something that we would review requirements for any improvements to the sidewalks, whether on the west or improvements or on the west or improvements to the east.
Okay. Mitch, we'll send that with you in the report. As long as you fill out that the form, make sure we get your name on record because you will be kept informed of every
Okay,
that goes.
because I think it'll be a safety issue if there's
Yeah.
no sidewalk on that side of the road. People, then they gotta walk across the road.
Yeah, no, there's going to be we see it now, and I'll just comment that we see people running across the street, so it's
Yeah.
definitely a safety issue. So our staff will be looking at that and reviewing that, so make a decision.
Okay.
Good,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, is anybody else? I will just, the 3 calls, if anybody in the audience, anybody else wishes to talk, oh, you want to talk in? Come on up.
Yes, Mitch was saying about the traffic coming, okay, County Road 91 has a lot of dump trucks. And in the summer, it is backed up as far as you can see sometimes. And sometimes even just coming from our place, which is on Sutherland and 91, coming to the lights, sometimes it takes 3 set of lights just to make a left-hand turn there. And that's just from our corner. So hopefully that's been really looked into just with the 1 lane coming off. Because sometimes you have to go maybe back up down through some subdivisions just to get out of where we live as it is now.
I think our staff, we're hearing some of those comments come now about the traffic and, you know, the privacy issues. So it'll be definitely part of their review when they come in.
Okay, thank you.
Good, thank you. Anybody else who wishes to speak? Anybody else? Julie, did you have any other comments? You're good with everything? Okay. And the third time, if anybody else wishes to speak, okay. Now, any members of council wish to ask questions? Councillor MacArthur, please.
Yeah, my first question through you, Chair, is of these buildings, you're wanting to make some of them 2-story. How many of them are you planning to do 2-story level?
Hi there, through you, Mr. Chair. Only, they're all supposed to be only 1 story. Yes, that's right.
I thought it said in the report there they wanted to alter the,
Sorry, yeah, the bylaw requires a minimum of 2 stories, but we're requesting that that be amended to only
okay.
require 1.
Okay, okay. Any other questions, Councillor MacArthur, at this time? Okay. We'll start with Councillor Beelan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sorry.
I don't know what a stacking lane is. You say the setback is 0.4 meters. What does the stacking lane do? And is 0.4 meters enough?
It's the drive-through lane, it's the stacking lane. So how far the curb of the drive-through is from the property line.
So when there's snow, what are they going to do? Scoop it up or are they going to blow it? 0.4 meters is not a lot of area.
No, they'd have to scoop it up and then bring it out.
Okay.
You're good? Thank you. Councillor Walker?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess I'm gonna be the one that's gonna complain about the traffic. Because I see, living in this municipality for years, that there is an issue with your entrances off of 42 and 91. Have you looked at Sutherland and Quebec Street as an alternative entrance, rearranging your parking lot? Talking to Marlene, her project, not talking to her, but following up her comments. I have seen that lanes coming east on 91 back to Stainer Street in the summer and in the winter. So anybody trying to turn left into your development with that so-called double turn lane, turning left on 26 and turning, or on King Street or 26, whatever you want to call it, and turning left into your development, I see that as a potential issue. with the long lineups of traffic going east on 91. And I will go to 42. 42 is no better. 42 is a very busy alternate route from Toronto. It is heavily used in the right seasons. And whenever your traffic study was done, if it was done in off season, then you're not getting a true picture of the traffic flow. So I would suggest and ask that you please look at alternative entrance through Sutherland and through Quebec Street, where you can, you may not have to do a whole lot of road expense alterations. Maybe widen the entrance off of Quebec, off of 42. But to me, that would save money for your development, but I really feel that you need to look at Quebec and Sutherland as your entrances and exits from this development.
Okay. Did you wish to respond to that, Julie? It's just a more comment, question, I guess, concern.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, thank you for your comment.
Okay.
We can explore that.
Okay. Anybody over the, Councillor Beelan again, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You say you're going to plant some trees. There are lots of different kinds of trees. I'm just wondering what you're planting, because some of them are nicer for like shrubs to create privacy. Some create shade. Some trees are a mess in a parking lot. Like what kind of trees? Because that makes a big difference, I think. Just wondering what you're planning there.
Yeah, for you, Mr. Chair, we'd be looking at advice from our landscape architect through the detailed design process. The current like high level conceptual plan just shows deciduous trees. It doesn't really go into much detail, but I agree like looking at different shrubs as well, like around the lands, around like the loading spaces and as like an entrance feature might be nice as well. But that's something we would have our landscape architect provide recommendations for through the site plan process.
Okay. You're good? Councillor Deneen, did you wish to speak at all? No, you're right now. I look to my left. Councillor Broderick, did you wish to speak right now? No, you're good. Councillor MacArthur, you're good. Your worship.
Why,
I'll say we
thank
save
you.
the best for last, but we
Oh, I'm
take.
sorry. You're doing a good job there, Paul. Thank you very much. Listen, I do have a couple quick questions. The site looks very exciting. And to be honest, this community needs this site developed. We need something like this in our community. So we want to make sure that this works out well for the owners of the property, the development, the business owners, and the community. Most importantly to us, we represent the community, right? So a couple of things I'd like to just get clarified before we ever get into any type of negotiations or settlement or whatever. No on-site storage for snow. Now, I just want to point out that we've noted that the parking or the lot across the street where the Dairy Queen is, when we have super snow events, you know what happens is the local contractor will just pile all the snow right in the middle of the parking lot. That's kind of what a local contractor would do. So I would recommend that you come up with some plan so that while you don't have a designated spot, that you have something you can work with your tenants and with the community to make sure that you have a place that you can have it put and then arrange for a time for it to be taken away, because there's no on-site snow storage. So if there's an on-site snow storage, that means it would be there and it could be there for weeks melting away, right? So I would just make that consideration. I was thinking about Dairy Queen a couple of winters ago. The snow was piled up so high, you couldn't even see their little entrance to get into their drive-through. I mean, literally, it was like just a little snow tunnel to get in. But nevertheless, let's hope you have those problems, right?
Thank you.
Another thing I want to mention is I've sort of scanned through the traffic impact study. Some very good information in there. And one of the pieces that I picked up out of the traffic impact study said about parking is 172 spaces is what our bylaw calls for. So it would actually be a shortfall of 82 spaces that's not going to be able to be provided. And that's fine. I mean, I understand the balance as to how that would work. I'm thinking if we could just consider what we are going to take a look at with Quebec Street and Sutherland Street and how those streets are going to be finished with, you know, with the fence or the trees, as you were talking about, because we want to make sure that this integrates into the community very well, right?
Yeah.
So I think that that speaks to me is how we can work with the shortfall of spaces, and we can work together. Garbage, the question is this garbage storage facility that you mentioned, it was asked by a couple of our residents, that garbage storage facility, is that going to be for all 4 buildings? Is this for the whole site? Or is this only for one building and then 2, you know, each have their own garbage, you know?
They will likely each have their own garbage, but we'll look at that more through site plan process.
Okay, so that also might be a good consideration. It might increase the number of parking spots you get if you have a singular spot for garbage. If you can work that out with your tenants, I'm not sure. There are some, you know, plazas that do that. So, might be something to consider in that sort of smaller space that you've got there. What was my last point on here? I'm good, but thank you. I look forward to hearing more about this. I would suggest that the community, while it's wonderful to have some residents out here, I can assure you there's a lot of people in this community who want to be very much engaged in this. And we may be seeing, from the staff point of view and from council, lots of information coming from the public about this. So I would hope that you're open to hearing from them. Although this is the official public meeting, there's very much a lot of concern about traffic in that area for sure. So that's fair?
Yes, most definitely. Thank you.
All right. Thanks very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councillor Deneen,
I'm kind of with the mayor as far as liking this. The traffic will be a concern, but if anybody, and I'm sorry to liken this to something that Collingwood has, but if anyone's been on the Poplar Side Road at the end of the day, when everybody's trying to get out to the bypass to go home and tried to get out of that poor little parking lot there onto 124 Poplar Side Road. So it will be an issue, but people are just going to have to bide their time.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. It's going to be a learning process for people using this area. And I'm hoping that they're not high traffic stores for this corner just because of the parking. You mentioned there's not enough parking for that. And yeah, that's the only comments that I would have about this. I'm excited to see what they're going to bring.
thank you. Go ahead.
I work with Julia. My name is Mark Crow. I just wanted to give you a little background as well. We consider ourselves community builders, and it's very important to us to you know, cohesively and seamlessly integrate into a community that we develop. We've done several plazas, Brampton, Oakville, Mississauga, where we've had retail next to residential streets where you've got residential on one side and you've got commercial on the other side. And there's a lot of different creative things that you can do to make that interface so that, you know, the neighbors actually, you know, don't mind the development. They actually appreciate the development. I can give you some examples where we've taken and built the foundation wall around the retail, so it is somewhat of a retaining wall. It allows you to kind of berm up to the building. The building acts as a bit of a retaining wall, and it allows you to create landscaping. It reduces the mass and the size of the building and puts it more on scale with what's in the neighborhood. And we can share this type of thing with staff. Because, you know, these kinds of things are important because you don't want to turn your back on your neighbors, because then your neighbors will turn their back on you when you move forward with your development. So the other thing I just wanted to mention is that we are familiar with the area, and as far as snow, we own the 30 rental townhouses on North Street. We've owned that for I guess, 8 or 9 years. We've also done some significant development in Wasaga Beach. We built the Stonebridge Town Center. It's anchored by the Walmart. And so we're very familiar with snow, and we're very familiar with the seasonality, like this past winter, where we trucked a lot of snow. So we understand that, you know, leaving a pile in the middle isn't, it's not good for, you know, you get kids playing on it, which causes a problem. It creates a problem for your tenants. And quite honestly, it's an eyesore. So I appreciate everything that everybody said. I think that all the comments are valid comments, and they're things that we need to deal with and make sure that the neighbors are happy, the staff is happy, and council is happy. And that's what makes good development.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank
That's great to hear that. And I think we have a couple more questions here, and I guess I get the last word eventually, but go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is my last question. The mayor asked my one about the snow storage. I'm just looking at the diagram here, and there's probably going to be deliveries, and I'm wondering, are you planning on tractor trailers coming in here? Because it looks like Building A has a ramp that, you know, for tractor trailers to back into. And then even the garbage waste has those big forks, has to go to Building C. It doesn't look like a lot of room for tractor trailers to go in there. Even D-type trucks, D-licensed trucks can be pretty long. Is that enough room? Or I know these diagrams aren't always to scale or whatever.
Yeah, a truck analysis, I guess, was done by the architect to make sure that the trucks can maneuver in and out of the loading spaces. There's the 2 loading spaces can accommodate larger size trucks. I can't remember what size they are though, off of hand.
Because we do have a counselor that does drive a truck. Can you drive one in there?
I've been in worse, I'm sure.
Thank you.
You're good, Marty? Thank you. So I'll get a few questions. First to Nick Ainley. Nick, can you talk about slide 4? You said about the D4, which is the proximity to a closed dump, I believe. The assessment study, we don't need one for this property, or has that been, can you just answer that?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, so during the original pre-consultation process, which was done, I believe, in 2023, we were still acting under our previous official plan document. Through that document, while the county-owned commercial waste collection facilities were identified in one of our schedules, the private or privately owned previous waste sites, I believe it's the Bing property, was not identified. So at the time, it wasn't identified as being required. It wasn't within the 500-meter D4 assessment area, which typically looks at, you know, the presence and any sort of impact associated with existing landfill locations. So it was not checked off as a complete application requirement, and that's why the applicant has requested the official plan be amended, because the current official plan under section 7427, it does specify that it is required. So it's currently under review as a part of staff's analysis of the formal submission requirements, whether it is or not required. But that's the impetus for why it has been requested to be amended as such.
So you're saying there was a dump at the Bing School at one time?
I haven't confirmed the exact location, but there is a mapped private waste site in terms of scale and location of it.
Okay, I never heard that one, but Councillor Walker, you've seen it, and you've been here long enough to see it? Okay.
And just to add to it, I believe it's just the extreme kind of east end that fits within
Okay.
that 500-meter setback.
Because the reason I was saying that, I understood that the dump at the end of Industrial Road was rehabilitated, and I don't think it's a concern anymore, so that's a surprise it was even mentioned.
Yeah, so it actually is not that assessment area. It's a separate one.
Okay. Couple other questions I'll throw. Did you want to say anything? No? Okay. Couple other questions or comments. We've already beat up on the snow removal. We know what's happened before across the road. And the second question I'll just ask to Nick as well. I know there was some supplemental comments sent in prior to our notification date. They will be circulated to ourselves and everybody else at what point?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, so basically anything that was received prior to the posting of the agenda for tonight's public meeting will form part of the formal recommendation report, and a response will be provided as a part of that process.
And so our developers will get that so they can respond as well.
They've already been forwarded, yes.
Okay, good, thank you. Just talking, I want to beat up this garbage a little bit. I just want to find out, because I picked up right away on building C that it has the receptacle there and A, B, and D do not. Are we expecting that people are going to drag all their garbage across the parking lot? Or when you mentioned, it caught my eye here, about they're going to be pumping it underground potentially? Am I to understand that?
Sorry, no, the details of the garbage facilities haven't been determined yet, but I was suggesting maybe, I don't know if you've heard of like a Moloch system where it's like a partial underground. It's just like
Okay.
like covers the smells better, and it's like really easy to like secure and everything like that. It's just another option that could be explored through the site plan process. And they'll likely have a lot more than that one at the Wendy's. They just haven't been shown on the detailed plan yet.
Okay, good, because I know you heard Mrs. Schaap speak about, her previous experiences, and we've seen what happened behind across the road where they tried to build the barricades and everything, keep their cardboard separated. It's a disaster. So please make that as a point as well. Councillor Walker made some great points, and I think a lot of people are expressing their concern on the entrances and accesses, and there is obviously some work that's going to have to be determined there. For those of us who have had business in this town, we know what it's like on a long weekend when we see traffic backed up to Creamore Springs or up to the K-On Furniture. It's not fun, and then Sunday night it happens all over, and they're backed up to Reinhardt, so it's not just an isolated situation. As Mark identified, he's well aware of what's going on, so hope we can address that for everybody, and as well as our protection of our neighbors. So I think you're on the right track with that. And as the comment was made earlier, we're excited to see what happens. This has been a long time coming. I personally been watching every house go down one at a time. So, and some houses being repurposed, sitting in our neighbors in Springwater, actually. So it was nice to see that as well. So we look forward to seeing what comes of this. And our staff will do a good job and thorough job in working with you. So please make use of them and reflect our concerns. So thank you very much. With
you.
that, Your Honor, I'll say that concludes our agenda for the public meeting. And I will just read. But this concludes the public meeting with respect to item 3.1, the official plan amendment, zoning bylaw amendment for 2025-013 Lilac Park, Inc. Of this evening's agenda. We thank all who have attended and provide comments for their interest in this matter. All input received with regard to this proposal will be fully considered by staff in their recommendation and by council in their decision with respect to the application. A report regarding this proposal will be prepared for council, who will make a decision concerning this matter at a future meeting. And as there are no other public meetings for this agenda, I will pass the chair back to Mayor Measures.
Thank you very much, Paul. Excellent job as always, chairing the public meeting portion. Well done. If there's nothing further for the agenda of tonight's meeting, I will then read the bylaw to confirm the proceedings. Be it resolved that bylaw 2532, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of our April 30th, 2025 special council meeting, be presented and read a first, second, and third time, finally passed on the 30th day of April, 2025. Moved by Mr. MacArthur, seconded by Mr. Broderick. And if there's no further questions, I will call the bylaw. All in favor? And the bylaw carries. Okay, we're about to adjourn the meeting, but I just want to mention, of course, let's not forget, Stainer has an amazing duck race happening this Saturday. So come on out. We'll see you all there down at the park. It's a good time. It really is. You should come. All right. And of course, for me, go Habs. Let's see. The meeting is adjourning at 6:27, and that'll be moved by Denis and Beelan. Councillor Beelan, thank you. All those in favor? That carries.